Okay. Hello. Let's see if we manage to do this right today, shall we? If you have comments now, I think I can see them. So if you type something, I don't know who's here because I can't see the names, but if you type something in the comments, we'll see if it works. Well, hello, Mike Moore. Look, it worked. Yay. Oh, we're so successful for once. Hello there, Chris Gibson. Well, thank you for joining us. I imagine we'll have a few more who jump on right now. We just had a couple more folks register, so I think we're up to 13 for our Philpott tournament. I guess I should start with, for those of you who don't know, my name is Danielle England. I am the tournament director for the BassCast Kayak series, and I appreciate all of you joining us for our captain's meeting this evening. It is required viewing, so if you aren't able to attend, you do need to go back and watch the recording of this video to make sure that you have all the information that you need in order to be prepared. So if you would, if you are in attendance, you can just type into the chat that you are here so that I have a record of it. And if you're watching it as a recording later on, you can either leave a comment or this will be posted on the BassCast Kayak web page, and you can make a comment on that post or on the Facebook page, letting us know that you have viewed it as well. So thank you very much for being here this evening. I would first of all like to send my condolences out to Brian Carter, who is very upset about the fact that I'm not wearing a BassCast shirt for this event this evening. It's very distressing for him. He's very upset about it. You guys, he may not make it. It's very sad. So you guys keep him in your thoughts and prayers, okay? Thank you very much. I appreciate that. As always, we want to start out with thanking our wonderful sponsors who are so generous to us. We have Bixby Motors, Yak Attack, Canine Fishing, Tourney Tag, Drop Zone Tackle, and most recently, Hobie Eyewear, right? I know that we're going to have an opportunity for you guys to win a pair of Hobie sunglasses later on this year. And our title sponsor, Journey Outdoors, who has chosen a fantastic kayak that they're going to be giving away at the end of our season. And that has been posted on the Facebook page, I do believe. So make sure that you go and check that out if you haven't had a chance to see it. And we're, of course, going to be sharing that as much as possible, making sure that everybody knows the awesome prize that they could win at the end of the year. That goes to our Angler of the Year, who wins our points championship. So let's talk a little bit about our Philpott Lake tournament, which is happening tomorrow night, or tomorrow. Sorry, it's happening tomorrow, which is May 28th. So we are going to be having Tournament HQ at Twin Ridge Recreation Area Boat Ramp. Now, you don't have to launch there if there are other public boat ramps, but I would like to remind you that you may only use public boat ramps for launching. Now, that doesn't mean that it has to be a free ramp, but it does mean that it has to be a ramp that everyone has access to. So I know someone asked specifically about a boat ramp at a campground where they're staying. And that one is considered a public ramp because other people can pay $5 to use it, even if they're not staying in that campground. So yes, you can launch from there. So just make sure that the ramp that you are using to get into the lake is one that is accessible by anyone. It can't be one that is privately owned and only you can use it or anything like that, okay? And then when we do our awards at the end and our check-in, we're going to meet back up there at the Twin Ridge, I can't say that, Twin Ridge Recreation Area Boat Ramp. So the boundaries for this tournament are all of Philpott Lake. That one's a pretty easy one. Thank goodness. I like easy ones. All of Philpott Lake. You should already have access to the ID code for this tournament. That should have been released in Tourney X at 7 o'clock tonight. If you still do not have access to that, you're not able to see it in the app. I know there were some issues when we started our month-long tournament. I believe those have been fixed, but if you are still having issues, please don't hesitate to reach out to me and let me know. So our launch for this earliest launch is 6 o'clock and then lines in at 6:30. Lines out are at 2:30. Check-in is from 3 to 3:30 and awards are at 4. Now, I want to let you know we're probably going to be a little bit flexible on the check-in and awards time. And the reason for that is because there is very little cell signal at Philpott Lake. And so it is unlikely that you as an angler are going to be able to submit your fish pictures as you take them or as you're going on throughout the day. You may come into pockets of cell signal, but those, I'm told, are few and far between out there. And so what you are likely going to have to do is make sure that you move very quickly, get those lines out at 2:30, and then take yourself very quickly to an area where there is cell signal. You shouldn't have to go very far, but out to a main road where you can get cell signal so that you can submit your pictures. But then keep in mind that also means that Brian and I have to be also sitting in an area where there is cell signal so that we can approve those pictures and we can figure out who has won our tournament. So it's also going to be a little bit tricky for you guys when you're trying to follow along in Tourney X and see where you're currently placed and whether you should maybe hold on to some pictures and all that kind of strategy that I know that you guys are doing, and you're not really going to be able to do that tomorrow. So this one's going to be a little bit of a different dynamic for some of you, I think. But just know that if we're not there at the ramp right at 3 o'clock, that could be because we're still sitting up at the road with cell signal trying to approve pictures. And so just know that it may also be that we'll give you a little bit more time. If you text us or message us on Facebook or whatever and let us know, hey, I'm still trying to submit my pics, it's taken a while, that's fine. You just need to let us know because this is a unique situation, okay? And then we are going to try to keep everything moving on schedule as much as we can, but just give us some patience and some grace and know that it's possible that we could need just a little bit more time to get through everything, okay? I appreciate you. Now, one thing that I really wanted to point out is that for this particular tournament, we have added spotted bass as one of the options for you to catch. And the reason for that is one of our anglers asked about them. And so I did a little research because it's what I do. You ask me one question and I've fallen in a rabbit hole now. And now I know everything there is to know about the Alabama spotted bass that have been introduced as an invasive species into Philpott Lake. It's a whole thing. I can send you many articles. I fell down a rabbit hole. I'm not kidding. So, but now I know a lot about this, and I know that they are prevalent in Philpott Lake because they were introduced there, and they have kind of become a part of now I guess they're just a part of the species there. And so it's likely that you may catch some spotted bass, and they're more aggressive in Philpott Lake maybe than the other bass that you would have an opportunity to catch. And so we wanted to include those as an option for you. However, I want to make this clear. Spotted bass are not included in the month-long tournament. So if you are fishing both tournaments and you are intending to use the fish that you catch at Philpott tomorrow, also as fish that you use towards the May month-long tournament, you can do that. That's perfectly legal. You just make sure that on your identifier card, you have both your code for the May month-long tournament and your code for this specific tournament. Everyone has their own individual code for the month-long tournament. The code that you receive for this tournament for Philpott Lake, everyone has the same one. So you just have to make sure both of those are on your identifier card. If you've never fished with us before, please do make sure, by the way, that you go to the description in Tourney X and go to the link so you print out the specific KBF identifier card that is required. So please make sure that, and read the rules that are there as well. The link to the rules is there. Just please make sure if you've never fished with us that you have a very good understanding of everything that's required and exactly what you're supposed to be using, okay? But anyway, so to go back to what I was saying about the spotted bass. So you can turn in spotted bass as catches for the Philpott Lake tournament, but you cannot also turn in those catches for the May month-long tournament. So I just want to make that clear so that there's no confusion, because I know that that one's a little bit tricky. And also I know that sometimes it can be a little difficult to tell the difference between spotted bass and a regular largemouth bass. So if you need some help with that or you need to look that up, I can send you some information if you have questions, okay? And then the other thing that I wanted to remind you about was just really about what's required when it comes to your fish photos. You need to make sure that they are taken from directly above. So your camera, your phone should be like this. Should be, what is that, perpendicular? Parallel, that's what it is. It's parallel. Your phone should be parallel to the fish, and you should be taking that photo from directly above. If that means that you need to lay your bunk board down in your kayak in order to lay it down, or I know some folks have mentioned that they maybe have kayaks where they sit down in them, and that's a little bit difficult. If you need to get out and stand next to your kayak and set the bunk board down in the kayak, you can do that. That's okay. But we want to make sure that we can see the eye fully. We want to make sure that we can see the left eye of the fish. And we want to make sure that we can see all the parts of the fish so that we know that the fish is alive, that its mouth is closed, and that it is a healthy fish and that you are going to be releasing it. I would also like to recommend that at any point, if you think there could be questions about a fish, if at any point you think that I might come back and say, was that fish really alive? Or, was that fish okay? Or anything like that, that you consider doing a video release of a fish that you think there could be questions about. So that if I do come back and ask any questions, or even preemptively, you could say, look, I know this one had the dead eye. And so I know when you look at it, you're going to go, oh, what's wrong with that fish? I did a video release of it so you can see that it swam away. And that's a very smart thing to do. So I absolutely recommend, if you think that there could be questions, that you consider doing that. So let's see. I see that I have Mike Moore and Chris Gibson and Jamie and Robert Clements. I would like to know, because it says I have 8 people, so make sure that you put who you are in the chat, so I make sure that I have a record of who attended. And then if anybody has any questions or comments or anything else, you're welcome to add those in the chat as well. If there's anything that I didn't cover that you think I needed to cover, make sure that you put that in as well. I'll be happy to go on that. Jay Rich is here. Thank you, Jay. Anybody else? It says I have 8 people, but maybe there's just some people who just thought, you know what, I'm going to watch this girl do her video and she's going to be ridiculous and I'm going to entertain myself. Hey, Caleb. I do hope that all of you have stayed safe today. Caleb was actually camping down at Philpott and I was very concerned for his safety this morning. I work for the Red Cross and we have a lot of disaster alerts going on today. We have a lot of disaster responses currently happening with a lot of homes that have been damaged by the storms and things like that. And that's just from this morning. I actually haven't gotten an update about what's going on from what might have happened this evening even. And that stuff passed right over my head. That was a little nasty there for a little bit. As far as I know, Jamie, the storms have passed. So I can actually look that up real quick for you. Are you camping down there as well, Jamie? Let me see what we have. No, I don't need that. Thank you very much. I don't recommend anyone click any links. Bad idea. 2 hours away. Oh my goodness. Well, actually, I live 2 hours away. What am I talking about? All right, I've reported those comments, so let's see if we can get rid of those. All right, let's see. We are looking at Henry, Virginia. And I am showing go away. All right, Jamie, I'm showing there is still a little bit of a chance through 10 o'clock tonight. It's dropped down to about 35% between, well, it's 40% now and then drops to 35% by around 10 p.m. And then after that, it clears up. And then we're only looking at most a 7% chance of rain for tomorrow, high of 78. So hopefully tomorrow's weather will be good. It's pouring right now, Caleb says. So I'm not sure if that affects any of you in how, oh, look, I can put people in timeout. Don't you all behave yourselves, or I can put you in timeout. I've just learned this about this person with their nasty comments. Learning new stuff today. Okay, so, oh, you're camping as well? Okay, Mike and Jay. Well, I hope that you guys managed to stay safe tonight. I hope that it's just rain at the most and that all the storms have moved through. So it looked from what I could see like it was just going to be raining. But please do stay safe and let us know if you, let us know if there are any problems or anything like that. Certainly we're happy to work with you if you have anything that happens or anything. Um, yeah, was worried about smaller cuts being blown up. I mean, everything's going to be, I'm sure that the water's going to be very high. It's going to be dirty. So, definitely a lot of things to take into consideration tomorrow when it comes to your, you know, how you choose to fish. Unfortunately, because of this weather and how nasty it was. I've actually never been there either. So Brian has been there several times. His family, he grew up around there with some family, and I think some of our folks have been there frequently, but I've never been either. So I hope that you guys enjoy it, especially those of you who've never been. The photos I've seen look lovely, and that I hope that it's not too crazy because of the weather that we've had. Does anybody have any questions or anything else you need me to cover for you? It's been nice to have the chat working. Look, we figured out how to do this, you guys. I'm so proud of myself. So we've learned that you have to say that your content is not suitable for children or not made for children or something like that. I imagine those two things don't mean the same thing. But either way, this content is not for children, and therefore you can see my chats. Caleb, I don't know. When did you come in? Probably nothing important because I just rambled. Your hand does not have to be in the photo. No, that is not a requirement for our group. Robert says the water's a little high, but still mostly clear. That's good. Caleb, you probably just missed the beginning part where I was making fun of Brian because he was upset that I didn't put a BassCast shirt on. Oh, about if photos won't come through. So I went over where we were going to be at the Twin Ridge Recreation Area boat ramp, which this third time I've said it, I still can't say it, that the boundaries were all of Philpott Lake, that you should already have your ID code, and then went over the times. All of those are in the description of the tournament in Tourney X, and then talked about, hang on, let me go back to my list. Just, that you guys would have to get out. Lines out is at 2:30, and check-in is really from 3 to 3:30. And so you technically have an hour. If you go from lines out 2:30 until 3:30, then you have an hour to get somewhere where you can submit pics, right? But we recognize that it still could be difficult for some people depending on what cell service you have and things like that. And so just to let us know if you're having difficulty, but then also when it comes to like the timing, because we are planning to be at the HQ at 3:00, but also recognizing that you guys won't have gotten out until 2:30. And then I have to be somewhere where I have signal so I can receive and approve your pictures so that we can actually figure out who's won. So those times may be a little bit flexible. We just need to be a little bendy with our times tomorrow is really. So yes, launches at 6, lines in at 6:30. And then just also made sure that everybody's got the KBF identifier card. The link to that is in the tourney description in Tourney X. And then also, if you are using the fish that you catch tomorrow for both the May month-long tournament and this tournament, please make sure that both identifiers are written on that card. And I think that's probably everything you could have missed, Caleb. All right, y'all. Well, if nobody has any other questions and everybody has all the information they need, then I think that we are good to go. I've taken a whole 19 minutes of your life, and I appreciate you giving it to me. And I look forward to seeing all of you tomorrow. I wish you the best of luck, and please be safe and let us know if you need anything between now and then. Good night, everybody.